Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Deck Tech with Too Many Cards and Dice. And tonight I'm going to go over a low-power Niv-Mizzet Parun deck. And I'm going to try to keep in mind the whole recently mentioned brackets system. And I think this would technically fall under 3 or 4, but when you see the rest of it, it shouldn't. But anyhow, I won't lie. Niv-Mizzet here is very easy to combo off with. And you will see several of the usual suspects in this deck. But that said, I built this to take and play with my friends in Ohio, where they probably won't actually play Commander proper. Simply shuffle up whatever they grab and do everything at 20 life total and see what happens. And those games range anywhere from 3 to 8 players. And some of the decks have not been touched in over 20 years. So it is what it is. But anyhow, if you are somehow unfamiliar with Niv-Mizzet Parun, he costs 6 to cast, very color specific, cannot be countered, 5/5 flyer, Dragon Wizard. The wizard part's kind of important. Anyhow, whenever you draw a card, he deals 1 damage to any target. And whenever any player casts an instant or sorcery, I draw a card. Note it is not a may draw. All right, the first of the usual suspects is Curiosity. And frankly, when you put it on Niv-Mizzet here, it is just an instant win. And there are 2 cousins that are not in this deck, Ophidian Eye and Tandem Lookout. Excuse me, that do the same thing. So if you're looking for consistency, you would add them. But this is in here because I had a copy. As you can see, this came out of a Jumpstart. But the reality is that's kind of a boring way to win. It's like, oops, I win, so it may go away. Harmonic Prodigy, however, is going to stay for a while because if an ability of a shaman or a wizard, like my commander, triggers, I trigger an additional time. So I'm drawing extra, I'm dealing extra damage. I think that's funny. Mind Moil. Enchantment for red 4. And I think the Niv-Mizzet family decks are the only, man, if only I had more pixels. Why is it out of focus? Anyhow, whenever you play a spell, man, it's real bad. Put the cards in your hand on the bottom of your library in any order, then draw that many cards. Oh my gracious. Don't know what's going on here. Maybe auto will fix it. Nope. Arjun, the Shifting Flame. This is a 5/5. Stupid camera. Hey, that actually kind of worked. Anyhow, it is a, you pay 6, you get a 5/5 flying Mind Moil. Teferi's Puzzle Box. That's nice and clear. A very commonly seen artifact in this and several other decks. Because everybody is shuffling away their cards, so it's great disruption. And you are drawing, which your commander loves. Molten Psyche. Each player shuffles the cards from their hand into their library, then draws that many cards. Metalcraft. If you control 3 or more artifacts, as a bonus, it deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards they've drawn. This deck is unlikely to trigger Metalcraft. Other decks can be built around it, and then it's extra fun. But here at least, it's just bonus damage, and it's really for the draw. Whirlpool Drake from Odyssey, I believe that is the set symbol. Enters a battlefield, shuffle the cards in your hand into your library, then draw that many cards. So you're still killing, basically all these cards are letting you kill the way Niv-Mizzet Parun kills without taking the infinite combo route. It's forcing you to work at it. And when he's put in the graveyard, you do it again. Whirlpool Warrior. Same set, but the rare version. Comes in the battlefield, shuffle away, and draw that many, and then You can sack it at any time for a red to do the same. And Psychosis Crawler just likes it when you draw cards, because then he deals damage to opponents. All right. Here's where things start to deviate a little. Mizium Skin. It's just protection for the commander. Or all your team if you overload it. Keep Safe as a bonus at cantrips, but counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. Because I tell you folks, people are going to try to kill your commander because of the nonsense he can bring. Good old counter spell. This one's from Ice Age and might be my favorite art. Which I guess means that I'm attracted to female bodybuilders, maybe? I don't know. Take from it what you will, but I do enjoy that art. Arcane Denial. And I know that some folks hate this card. But here it involves drawing, and I really don't care if people draw cards. I think it's fine. Have fun. Negate. Counter spell. Dream Fracture. Counter a spell. Its controller draws a card. I draw a card. So in a pinch, you counter your own thing and draw 2 cards. Well, draw 3 if your commander's in play because it's an instant. It's weird how that works. Good old Lightning Bolt. It is amazing how many planeswalkers and utility creatures you can remove for a measly 3 damage. Vandal Blast. I have seen it cast for 1 just to kill 1 artifact. But mostly people wait until they can overload it and sweep the board. Even if they're not playing Mycosynth Lattice. Volcanic Offering is admittedly one of my pet cards, but I love it. You're paying 5 for an instant to destroy a non-basic land you don't control and another non-basic land you don't control, but an opponent picks it. And then you deal 7 damage to a target creature you don't control and 7 damage to a target creature an opponent's choice you don't control. On rare occasions, this card forces your opponent to pick one of their own lands or own creatures, and that's just funny. Hour of Devastation. All creatures lose indestructible, which is important, and then they all take 5. The non-bolus planeswalker thing has yet to ever come up in play for me. Structural Assault. Sweep the board of artifacts, and then everything takes damage. And it doesn't care when the artifacts hit the bin. If they hit the bin, either from this spell or because somebody sacrificed all the treasures, they still count in that final damage. Twinferno. This is just a fun card. It's in here to copy spells, not really to give anything double strike. Galvanic Iteration. Again, to copy a spell. And then this one flashes back, which is fun. More copies. Increasing Vengeance. Copy spell. You're sensing a theme here. I'm copying and copying and recopying. Teach by example. Copy. Storm King's Thunder. Copy many times. I've yet to be able to cast this one, but you know, hope springs eternal. One day, I'll hit you all for many lightning bolts. Repeated Reverberation. Not only can I copy a spell, I can copy a loyalty ability, which really doesn't matter in this deck because I don't believe there's any planeswalkers. There these are. I was looking for these. Pyromancer's Goggles. Tap them, add red, and then it copies a spell if that red mana was for an instant or sorcery that's red. This is not ramp because it costs 5 to cast. It's just a fun toy. 1,000 Year Storm, another fun toy. Copying spells. Copying all the spells. Swarm Intelligence, copy the spells. Brainstorm, draw 3. Put 2 back. You can argue back and forth about how good that is, or the timing of when you should play it, or what you use it for, because you still see those 2 cards. But in a deck like this, that is drawing ridiculous numbers all the time, that really doesn't matter. As an aside, this is one of my favorite arts for Brainstorm. So yay, I've got it in here. Opt, draw a card. Behold the Multiverse, draw cards. Oops. Keep watch. Draw a card for each attacking creature. Note they do not have to be attacking you, merely attacking. If you can somehow get people's entire teams to attack, I mean, potentially this card draws lots. In experience, I only get 3 or 4 off of it, but, you know, it's better than nothing. Teferi's Ageless Insight. This is doubling the draw, because that's what Niv-Mizzet wants. Cavalier of Gales. I've talked about this card in at least one other deck tech. But this is a pet card of mine. It feeds devotion wonderfully, but this deck doesn't care. 5/5 flying, brainstorm with wings, and then when it dies, shuffle it away and scry 2. What's not to love? If you've got room and you're running heavy blue, I highly recommend it. Locust God. He loves it when you draw cards, and he spams the field with little bugs. All right. A random poison counter. This is in here. Well, A, it's fun to annoy people with poison counters. But B, it's an instant, and it draws me a card. So if nothing else, I'm paying 2 to draw a card. If I get to poison people, all the better. Oh, contentious plan. Proliferate and draw a card. If you were building this deck at home, you would probably take this whole poison sub-theme out because it's very little. It's unfocused. It's just there to annoy people. Steady progress. More of the same. Proliferate, draw a card, but at instant speed. Flux Channeler. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. Midnight Clock. Put hour counters on him. And then when the 12th hour counter is put on it, I shuffle my hand and graveyard into my library, then draw 7 cards. Back to the draw thing that Niv-Mizzet loves. Woo! Draw 2, proliferate. Oil counters. My spells get cheaper for each oil counter on the Mind Splice apparatus. I bought a few packs. This was in one of them. I didn't know where else to put it because it screams potential. So I threw it in here because I thought it would be fun. But it has yet to hit play. Corrupted Conscience. Yeah, I could steal your creature, but what I really want to do is put it on Niv-Mizzet and then make sure that I draw at least 10 cards or deal 10 points of damage via him to ensure that somebody dies. Magic Mirror. This was another lucky draw from a pack. It reduces costs and counters that love proliferate. I thought it would be fun, even though it's probably going to cost a lot to cast. Sturmgeist just wants to play with all the cards that you draw, and then he draws while flying. Young Pyromancer. I mean, this deck is not pure Spell Slinger, but it leans towards it. Makes dudes, deals damage for spells, deals more damage for spells, makes little dudes, reduces cost of spells, and lets you scry, reduces costs, and gets bigger. All right, Rite of Replication is just a really fun card. Another pet card, actually. But it fits the theme for this deck. And is there stuff in here that you would want to copy? I don't know. I mean, although 5 Gutter Snipes is pretty funny to have in play, you're probably copying somebody else's creature. But anyway you cut it, you get an army for 9. The lone extra card, extra shuffle. Sorry. For some reason, I thought this was an extra turn card because I didn't read it. You are shuffling your hand and graveyard and then drawing 7, then exile time reversal. That's for everybody. Target player shuffles their graveyard into their library. This is for you to cast on yourself because you have probably cycled through and drawn and discard a whole lot more than your opponents have. Same thing goes with Learn from the Past, except it's at instant speed and costs a little bit more. These are for you. And I know, here comes the rest of the deck. Seething Song. Just a fun instant. If you've never played it, you really, really should. Storm-Kiln Artist. If you are wondering where this card was, here it is. Mana Geyser. And when we play the 8-player games, this is beyond stupid. And then you should win, except there's nothing in here that will win automatically. So go figure. Izzet Signet, Thought Vessel, because you're drawn. Decanter of Endless Water, because you're drawn. Miko Koro, Center of the Sea, draw cards. With all the cards you draw, you will have extra land. And you need them. There's a lot of color-intensive cards in this deck. You're drawing cards. Flash things. All right, Evolving Wilds. This is a much better art than the one used in my last video. The land is ever resilient. Should it die, it will be reborn. Terramorphic Expanse. Take 2 steps into the north into the unsettled future. South into the unquiet past. East into the present day. Or west into the great unknown. Love that quote. All right, and then some standard Temple of Epiphany, Halimar Depths, which is great in any blue deck. Mystic Sanctuary, definitely in any mono or dual colored decks involving blue. I think once you hit 3 or more colors, you are unlikely to benefit from it unless you spend way too much money on lands with basic island types in them. And then, of course, islands and mountains. What are we tracking here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mountains. And yes, I'm one of those people where every art is probably different. And that, folks, is my low-powered version of Niv-Mizzet Parun. He's got some of the standard tricks and then a whole lot of non-standard things that just make for interesting general games without drilling down on play commander, combo out, herp derp. Anyhow, like and subscribe or at least make comments, please. Thank you and good night.